Welcome to Vator Box, where we rate your pitches as long as they're on Vator TV. I'm Bambi Francisco, and I'm joined by John Chenal, as usual, our managing editor, and Ezra Roizen, who is a contributing columnist and correspondent to Vator, as well as Always On. He's also a digital media investment banker. And our guest host is Mark Mahaney. He's an II-rated internet and media analyst at Citigroup. Mark, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
For this episode. Today we're looking at online advertising networks, as well as video ad networks, ScanScout, Adify, and Pixsy. And we're going to have John Chenal introduce all three. And this time I will be the keeper of the timer, the keeper of the iPhone.
Right. So first up is ScanScout. It's an online video ad network. I ran into CEO Wai-Kit Lau at the On Media conference in New York City. The first time I saw their technology, I thought it was really pretty cool. They have a little banner that scrolls across the bottom of the screen. Wai-Kit, in his pitch, he says that it's compatible with the pre-roll, which right now is the existing ad unit of choice, really, for video. People say it depresses page views, but it does get results for video. So let's hear their pitch and then talk about what we think their chances are.
Hi, my name is Wai-Kit Lau. I'm the co-founder and CEO of ScanScout. ScanScout is an online video ad network. You can think of us as having a platform with the ability to dynamically pick up and understand what an online video is about, and based on that, be able to inject on the fly an overlay ad at the bottom of the video.
Okay, I think we should probably start right there. I mean, he's talking about generating new revenue streams for publishers. I mean, is that something that they're looking for? And
sure. I mean, I think, as I was watching that, because what he wants to do is expand beyond the pre-roll and post-roll. So as I was listening to him, I was wondering what possible ads could actually be sort of going through underneath him. So yeah, for a publisher video, as Vator TV is, of course we're looking for any way to monetize our video.
Yeah, it's a crowded field.
I like the non-pre-roll aspect. I think pre-rolls are sort of really annoying. I would say that the idea, as a feature, I think is really interesting. I think taking and adding other ways of monetizing the space, I think the eyeball can handle it if it's cleverly done and integrated well. My question would be for the company, how many of these ad features can be supported as companies? Is this guy really building this thing to be rolled up into some larger ad network? Can he really build a whole ad network in and of himself? I don't know. It's tough. And we see a lot of ad networks right now. How many are going to be able to build substantial mass on both the publisher and the advertiser side? Or is this guy just creating a widget that somebody else is going to basically plug into their bigger network?
Separate company, standalone, or?
It's hard to tell. The format itself, transparent ads seem like a no-brainer. It seems like a great idea. We've seen it on YouTube. I agree with Ezra. These pre-rolls, post-rolls, never seen. Pre-rolls can be annoying. The question is, how good is the targeting technology here? So you're targeting based on what? He mentions a couple of advertisers in there. So Procter & Gamble is going to have their ad on this particular video. Why? Is it behavioral targeting to get you there? Are you looking at the tags behind the video? Are you able to sort through through speech recognition technology, what words are said in that video to know what's most relevant? That's the really interesting. You got the format down, check. Do you have the targeting down? That's the question.
Yeah, I mean, there's Vidivy. I remember covering Vidivy, where they were, I don't know, you might have remembered them. This was a couple years ago, and they were trying to do that. They were trying to watch sort of behavioral activity with a video to see when people clicked off, to see when people actually zoomed in or whatever, raise the volume. And they tried to put inserted ads during, at those times. And I think the technology is the key. Before thinking about building out a network, I looked at the site as well, tried to figure out exactly how they're identifying moments within a piece of video to insert a relevant ad.
Well, that's it. They've got to create value for publishers somehow, and for advertisers. Like I said, it's pretty crowded. You've got Bright-Roll, Video Egg. There's a bunch of online video ad networks being built. It seemed like 1 out of every 5 companies at the On Media conference was saying we have an online video ad network, or at least an online ad network that can be used for video. So they've got a lot of competition. They've got and again, they've got to be able to create value for advertisers. Is it a separate company? Sure.
Well, the thing too, and contextual. I've been writing about contextual advertising since 2003 or so, but I'm not quite sure it's all that perfect. And we've got a long way to go. And now they're trying to do it with video, and I just think that it's maybe. We've got a long way to go.
Getting context around video is really, really hard. And so I think the reality is if they can do something basic that's probably useful, the game is still wide open in terms of monetizing video. There is absolutely no dominant standard. There's no dominant way of doing it. We have a long way to go before that has been won and victory is declared by any provider. I still think it's tough to build a zillion little features that each publisher is going to figure out how to incorporate into their advertising platform. Most folks don't even know how to use the basics, let alone really advanced stuff.
Right. Hey, go around just really quick. And what they have to do to succeed, or
Sell
challenges they might
Google
have quickly?
No, they have to prove. They really have to prove that they've got a targeting technology that's better than what's out there in the industry. Of course, all these companies are chasing this spot because we're seeing this massive growth of video usage and production on the internet. Nobody's really figured out how to monetize it yet, not even Google. Right. So if they got the targeting technology, it's very interesting.
Okay, so the opportunities there.
Yeah, no, I agree. Focus on really improving the technology, working with one or two customers and proving their case.
I'm going to pull one from Gary Kremen's textbook. Figure out who's going to buy you and build what they need.
Okay, ScanScout. Done with that. Next up is Adify. Bambi, I'm going to ask you to help me a little bit with this one. I know you know the company better. They're building these, allowing publishers and websites to create their own ad networks, essentially, or use their own ad. People not have to use a separate network. Yeah. Let's take a look at the pitch, and then we'll talk about it.
I think the reasons you should care about Adify, number one, through our relatively scientific method, we believe there are about 101 vertical ad networks that exist today. 91 of them are on our platform. The trends driving the demand for premium vertical ad space are irreversible. I'll talk about those in a second. And the opportunity for entrepreneurs and for media companies to take advantage of these trends and build something of real sustainable value are significant. So some of the 90 networks that exist on our platform today that have talked about themselves in the press: Martha Stewart, Washington Post, NBC, Warner Brothers, The Guardian, Reuters, and then a whole host of entrepreneurial ones like Green Ad Planet, Yardbarker, Good Health Advertising, Gay Ad Network, folks like that.
So they've got a good list of customers. I mean, there is room. I mean, in the offline ad world, you have some big companies that have their own online ad buying departments. A lot of them use networks, though. Maybe online there's room for both.
I've been really positive with Adify. I've met and interviewed Russ a couple of times at AO. In fact, I introduced him for that video pitch at On Media. I think that the idea that you can create targeted, they're an enabler. So they go out, they do all the back office infrastructure, they run the billing, they run the technology, they basically enable other people to create ad networks. And I think the idea that there are people out there, ad executives, who know the advertisers that want to reach targeted publishers, they can create a much higher CPM value proposition if they can basically connect those premium advertisers to the sites they want to publish on. And I think that for a lot of niche sort of mid-tail sites, that's going to be really attractive to find who was running on the Adify networks that can plug those guys in.
This is tough, these ad networks businesses. There are so many ad networks businesses out there, and none of them get content or inventory on an exclusive basis. It's not that difficult for a web publisher to have their content, their inventory available on multiple ad networks. So, the size of the networks matters. It sounded pretty big, but like to see a lengthier list of customers perhaps, and then just how those customers that are using Adify, just how engaged are they really? How much of their inventory are they really willing to give, and have they been swapping it out from somebody else?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that, on their, like, let's say the case of Reuters, because I think Reuters they announced that they're working with Adify, and on our end too. I mean, we as a provider of content that's very consistent with what Reuters provides, this having Adify actually broadens Reuters' platform, because they could take in a company like Vator or other content sites that provide that type of information, and they can sell their advertising across Vator. And so maybe they're not giving their, the real estate, the really good real estate to Adify, but they can have properties like Vator, and sure, we'd probably get
even better real estate.
Even better real estate,
well,
yeah.
Can they make money? Is there enough of a margin there? Because I mean, a lot of there's a lot of vertical ad networks. There's like for instance, Quigo, which was bought by AOL. They focus on niche sites, and they were able to attract customers because people were tired of giving 50 cents of every dollar to Google, basically.
Yeah, I think that the reality, sure, and I think people still give 50 cents of their dollar to whoever the ad network is. For me, what's interesting is the local market knowledge on the advertiser side. So, for example, from what I understand, the guy who ran advertising for Planet Out left, basically said, you know what, I can start my own ad network. created an ad network called essentially the Gay Ad Network or something like that, and knew all the advertisers in that sector, signed a deal with Adify to run it on their platform, and is now going and signing up sites.
Sure.
And the sites love it because they're getting direct access to the really premium advertising crowd, and the advertisers are getting, you know what, we know exactly where we're going. We're going right to where this guy who we know says is the best site to be for our product. That is creating efficiency and will really drive up the CPM. So folks will use Adify-based advertising networks if they're getting more revenue from it. If they're not getting more revenue from it, they're going to go with wherever it is. I mean, at the end of the day, most of these folks, it's algebra to figure out what I should be doing here.
Are they standalone companies?
Adify is, sure. I think Adify will be.
They're going after a market that needs to be. They're going after all these vertical niche plays. Like I was just reading about Break.com expanding its properties for men's type of sites and using Adify to help sell ads across that platform. And so why do they have to deal with creating a technology platform to sell ads?
Right.
If Adify is there, that really helps a company like not too large media property, but a smaller, medium-sized property. But at the end of the day, that's sort of where we're heading toward, a lot of smaller-sized media properties.
Right.
Mark's looking at me
Well,
like...
No. From a public market perspective, there's been a lot of acquisitions of ad networks at very high prices. So they're going into, there's clearly the large public companies, the Yahoos of the world, but the Googles and maybe Microsoft, they're all looking to build out ad networks. This may actually be a great piece for them.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing that, Yahoo has made a couple big acquisitions. Microsoft has made an acquisition. If Microsoft and Yahoo come together, a couple of the big buyers are probably taken out of the game, so maybe less likely that the bid will be as high since there isn't as many bidders. Anybody else on Adify before we move on?
Keep doing what they're doing. I think they're doing a good job.
Keep doing a good job. I think we spotted them 2 years ago on the AO100, just to give a plug there, and
AO100 2 years.
2 years running. So and the curve is proven out.
Okay. So Adify. Last up, Pixsy, another video and image search service, another crowded field. I mean, everybody is. Web 2.0 has a lot of opportunities. There's a lot of players, though. Let's listen to Chase Norland, CEO, and then we'll talk about Pixsy.
Hi, my name is Chase Norland, CEO of Pixsy Corporation. Pixsy Corporation is one of the fastest growing providers of image and video search to other websites on the internet. Image and video search are the fastest growing consumer search verticals on the internet today, and we said, if they're so wildly popular, why are they not in the hands of every single website? So Pixsy's built a platform that aggregates image and video content from across the internet, slices and dices that content into the most popular consumer categories, then enables any website to run their own private label image and video search engine.
Now, it sounds like, when I've talked to Chase in the past, his take is that Google is not doing a good job on image search and that there's a better way to do it. And they've got a couple of customer wins with publishers. They're going to have one coming out early next week, too, I believe with PerfSpot, or I think this week, over the weekend. So, thoughts on this one? Anybody?
I know, just kind of funny how I like Chase, but the proposition of everybody having their own sort of video search on their site. It's like, well, then how do you differentiate from other sites? But I guess Google, provides search for other sites too. So I think it's a tough business that he's in.
Now, Truvio was bought by AOL. There's definitely interest in video search. What do you think?
Only one company, 50 million last year too.
Yeah,
probably sold.
The question I'd have is just how scalable something like this and how expensive it is. If you really want to do video search and be able to deliver it in a white label solution, what kind of capex are we talking about? How many data server farms do we need to run here? Do they have a shortcut here, or is this going to be in a very expensive proposition real fast?
They, from what I understand, they are only serving up the video and so on hosted on other sites. They're serving up thumbnails, so it's a lower delivery cost than it would be if they were actually hosting and managing and delivering, similar to Google. I mean, they are an index. Chase is great. We all know Chase. He's a fun entrepreneur and is super active and a great guy to interact with. And the company, I think there's good parts and bad parts. I think what's most interesting, though, is for the publishers themselves. Adify, premium access to premium CPMs, that's really interesting. I think Pixsy, the ability to add in new features. Maybe you do, maybe you don't need your own contextual video and image search engine. Maybe that's not a feature you need, but it's kind of cool that it's out there. And the reality is more and more sites are going to be out there for enabling publishers to A, not be in the ad business in Adify, and not be in the technology search video business through things like Pixsy. So you can basically bring up a site, declare yourself a media network, throw in an ad feature, throw in a video search feature, and now you've got a fully functioning site that can do lots of things that a year ago or 2 years ago were totally impossible to do. So you can be a really innovative entrepreneur. Now, some will be successful, some will, 99% will flop.
Again, a lot of competition. Any last thoughts on Pixsy?
Find a partner that needs sort of video search and we'll work with them, and much like Truvio did with AOL.
Yeah.
He's probably trying to do that already.
Find a big media company that loves your stuff, and then get them hooked, and then squeeze a term sheet out of them.
Okay, Mark, that's it. Okay, I think we've got them all in again today. It was ScanScout, Adify, and Pixsy. Any last thoughts, Bambi?
Thank you to Mark Mahaney for being our guest host.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, for always being colorful. And just a reminder to anyone watching this that we love your comments. I mean, our analysis isn't, all, it's just our analysis, and we welcome your analysis as well. And if you want to be rated, if you want us to discuss you on Vator Box, let us know. And if you'd like to be a guest host, let us know as well. So until next time, we'll see you on Vator TV.